And how do everyone, and welcome to the Real Estate Radio Show featuring Chris Lofthus of the Chris Lofthus Group. And Chris, I can't believe that it's already, our third week. We're going into our first month of the show. We've been getting so many comments about just all the value you provide, whether it's last week we had a home remodeler, we had somebody working on your trees. Incredible what you've put together. And as we like to start out each and every week, not only introducing you, Chris, but why do you do this great radio show?
Well, exactly. We keep going back to the same thing, but we decided to do this. You and I have been talking about it for 2 or 3 years now, and finally came to the time where I thought it was going to be a perfect time to talk about what's going on with the market. It's changing so fast, and really promote some of our vendors and really kind of put a more of a positive spin on what's going on with the real estate market and the economy in general in Boise.
Chris, we've talked about your group the last few weeks, the Chris Lofthus Group, and what you do. And as I've done the research and as I've recommended others to reach out to you, it all comes to about your team. And it's not just your team in your office, but as we're going to meet one of your providers in terms of dollars and cents, mortgage lending, Kurt Holtan, who we're going to meet a little later on. You've got all the elements if somebody wants to, as we say, turn their house into a home.
Right. Well, yeah, our biggest thing is with the show, we started talking about what the ultimate goal is here. And like, for example, Kurt Holtan from Prospect Mortgage is going to be on here today to discuss options for buyers and lending, which is really also important to people thinking about listing their houses. As we talked inventory levels, and again, down last week in Ada County, which is unheard of, hasn't happened probably in 7 or 8 years. Week after week, they keep dropping. So we have all these people out there considering listing their houses. They haven't thought, they're thinking about it. They should call us and talk to us because we have a ton of buyers. And as Kurt will tell you, there is a ton of product out there available for these buyers that it's a win-win for everybody.
Let's kind of take a peek at the market overview, because I thought you were kidding me this morning when you came in and we get together each weekend and kind of run through the show and the overview. And you said, even from a week ago, the numbers are dwindling, and start out with Ada County.
Yeah, Ada County is down again. I mean, we have 2,096 houses on the market this week, off again from last week, which is just unheard of in the spring. We have 1,063, which is pending, which is a good number. We had 95 closings last week, which is great, but we're 15 to 20% off from last year. And you look at that, that's just Ada County we're looking at. And you're looking at Canyon County, we have is down. That was down a lot. That was down from 991 listings last week to 968 this week, 39 closings. But the big number I keep looking up, and I keep telling people, because we have no product, as these resale listings are not coming on the market, people who are ever considering listing, they're obviously not putting them on, so people are turning to new construction. And you look at the new construction numbers are up. There are 409 new or under construction in Ada County, which is 20% of the total market share. And in Canyon County, it was up from 39, under construction last week, up to 71 under construction or new. And that's 7% of the market share out in Canyon County.
You are listening to the Real Estate Radio Show featuring Chris Lofthus of the Chris Lofthus Group. As always, you can reach out to Chris. Very simple. It's contact us at clgeagle.com, as in the Chris Lofthus Group in Eagle. You can check out his website, chrislofthus.com. That's spelled Lofthus. And you can also reach out to his team at 350-6228, 350-6228. Chris, your motto has always been connect with success. Tell our listeners what that means.
Right. Well, we talk about what we do as a company for people, and we always talk about the seamless transition between when we get a listing, we get a buyer, all the way through close. Like we talk about, we use Pioneer Title a lot. Guys like Kurt Holtan from Prospect Mortgage. We just surround ourselves with talent. I mean, all of our buyer's agents that work with us, listing specialists, we all are kind of on the same page, and we want to make sure we have a really seamless transition. And at the end of the day, everyone's extremely happy with their closing, whether they bought or whether they sold.
Let's go back to the market overview, and I guess you can use Dave Tester as your case study.
Right.
You and I have talked about our home. It's in a great neighborhood. I've pondered trying to figure out how to get a couple acres here and there. But as most people, I'm a couple of dollars upside down, but I think I live in a good area. And you talk about the need to get your house on the market now. And I'm still one of these guys looking at, well, Chris, are you sure? Are you sure? From your thoughts, this looks like a premier time if you're going to put your house on the market to call Chris Lofthus Group.
Yeah, and we do a great job. We're all about quality. We use professional photography for all of our listings. We have a great market share, obviously, out there. Plus, we have incredible online presence. And for example, I keep telling people, hey, look, if you're thinking about listing, call us because, we have just one of our buyer's agents. She has $13 million in buyers backlogged, which is, I've never seen that, at least. I've never seen that many people where they're sitting there on the fence and saying, hey, we really cannot find a listing out there that works for us. And I know that we have all these houses in the ground and these people that are going back and forth, whether they should list, they should call and talk to, whether it's us or another professional realtor and see what their options are. Because you'd be surprised, for example, we just got our house appraised last week and I was shocked that the appraisal came back at what we paid for it in 2007. It was the exact number.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this is what you add is what I call value, but free of charge, where if somebody calls, you can look through the area and say, well, here's what the homes are going for. You'll even swing by their home.
Sure, of course. And one of the biggest hurdles we have is that people talk to their neighbors and their neighbors are heading out of town after they sold their house or short sold their house. And you hear these numbers being thrown around and what Kurt will kind of, remind everyone too, that these comps that they can use when you're getting a loan after, 90 days, we're moving on. So, after 3 months, you're really looking at a short period of time. Plus, you really should call us and find out what the true number was, because what is being told out there to people, whether you're talking to them at a restaurant or your neighbor of what they really sold their house for, isn't necessarily the truth. When you go, some of them go on these websites like Zillow and they have these prices on there that are just so far off of what the true, sold price is. And then they pull their house up on Zillow and they're thinking it's worth $400,000 and Zillow says it's worth $130,000. It's just not realistic. And so if they want to call, if they want a free CMA from us, we can swing by, give them a current market analysis. We'd be happy to do so.
And as we do each and every week later on in the show, Chris will run through some of his featured listings from Whittam Place, some of the pocket listing that he has in Brookwood, and more. Coming up next, we're going to meet Kurt Holtan. First of all, I'm looking forward just to learn about Prospect Mortgage. I know they're licensed in all 50 states, and you go through some of the rankings, what they can do. But when it comes to residential home path lender in the United States, they're the best in the country.
Yeah, they are the best, and that's why I always go back to the fact that we, not only from my group is we hire talent, is all our vendors, just like last week we talked to Burton Remodeling, Kurt from Prospect, Kurt does what he says he's going to do. So when he comes into you, he's not going to, blow some smoke. He's going to say, hey, Chris, here's the deal. This is what these people need to do to be qualified to get into a house, or he's going to give us that range. And I'm confident in the fact that Kurt says, hey, Chris, we can get these people closed, snapped up in 2 weeks. I know that Kurt's, if he's going to get it done, if he's getting the information he needs from the buyer, or even somebody who wants to refi, if they're giving him the information, he gets it done.
And I know you've been, I guess I'll say, teasing us the last couple of weeks. I think it's a renovation lending tool where I see the home of my dreams, with the exception of the kitchen, and just say, you know what, Chris, this isn't going to work because the kitchen, now Shazam, because of this tool, you can change all that. Right,
and Kurt will go into this a little further, but it's called a 203K is the product that Kurt will talk about. And this wasn't available for people, and people who still out there don't understand that it's available. You walk into a house and you see a house that you love everything about it, except you hate the carpet, or you hate, the kitchen or the master bath, and it doesn't work for you. There's product out there now, which Kurt will explain and talk about, a little bit and touch base on, that there's product out there where we can get those things fixed for you and roll it into the end loan.
Good stuff with Kurt Holtan, and that is coming up from Prospect Mortgage. As always, if you want to reach out to Chris Lofthus, you can call his team at 350-6228, 350-6228, or simply email at contactus@clgeagle.com. You're listening to the Real Estate Radio Show featuring Chris Lofthus of the Chris Lofthus Group. We will continue on right after this timeout.